Hello, this is Decimal and welcome to Synth News. Today I want to talk about Elektron's Syntakt. We have an official information out. It has 4 analog plus 8 digital voices, 64-step sequencer similar to the Digitone and the Digitakt, and 12, yes, you heard me, 12 Midi sequencer tracks. That is absolutely bananas. Something interesting that people might not know is that each synth track has 2 LFOs, which is amazing. They also have ADSR envelopes and AHD envelopes, which is a lot simpler than ADSR, but is still definitely usable and powerful as well. That's something I was not expecting, especially the 2 LFOs per synth track, which is absolutely crazy. Now, one thing I'm also wondering as well is that if one track is using MIDI, can it also be a track within the Syntakt? Basically, does a MIDI channel nullify the Syntakt channel, or do they work together in tandem? Which is a question that I have not been able to answer yet. It says that a MIDI machine that can be assigned all 12 synth tracks with 4 note polyphony. So each track can have 4 note polyphony, which is less than the Digitone, but still 4, it's better than 1. And the fact that there's 12 tracks is pretty insane. I think this is leaning towards more so to be a drum powerhouse machine. It cannot do samples from what I can see as well. But here are some digital track features. There's a bass drum, 2 snare drums, cymbals, percussion, claps, and 4 tonal synths. I wonder what the 4 tonal synths are going to sound like. It has a digital overdrive per track, digital multi-mode filter per track. We talked about the 2 assignable LFOs per track, which also is on the analog side as well. 8 tracks are switchable to MIDI machine. So I wonder if that is sort of clarifying that it will overtake the digital track and turn into like a MIDI track, a solo MIDI track, I guess you can say. So here's some analog drum features. There's 15 selectable drum machine. There's 6 bass drums, 4, and these are all analog, which is pretty cool. 4 snare drums, 2 rim shots, dual VCO synth. That's one of them, and impulse and noise generator. Having noise is really great as well because with the ADSR filter and it has analog noise, there's a lot of potential to do large sweeps and stuff like that. Analog overdrive per track, analog multiple filter per track, 2 assignable LFO per track, which we talked about before in the digital side as well. So analog cymbal track, so we have hi-hat, cymbals, cowbell, you have to have some cowbell, impulse, and a noise generator. So a lot of times with these type of devices you can use noise as cymbals. A lot of the time the wave shapes are very similar, so like crashes and stuff are actually a lot of the times just made with noise. So that's why through this analog noise element, you're going to be able to get a lot of percussions from that alone. The effects features are pretty interesting as well. We have the classic delay, reverb, automation, analog stereo overdrive. So a lot of people were saying this could be mono, but like maybe the sound starts as mono, but then it can get to stereo through its effects unit. So if it's not processing samples, stereo samples are sort of irrelevant. The channels, the sound could start off as mono and then go into stereo via effects, which is pretty cool, which may also include panning as well. We have to see if there's going to be panning. There is 4 note polyphony per set, per step when it comes to MIDI. 8 assignable CC controls, which I can see being very handy when you're controlling external equipment, especially because there's so many channels. 1 assignable LFO per track when it comes to the MIDI sends, but not the digital or analog tracks built within the box, because that you get 2 LFOs in that case. The sequencer features 64 steps per pattern and track, which is very similar to the the Digitone and Digitakt. Individual pattern lengths per track. We have parameter lock, trig condition, trig chance. Trig chance is interesting because that can lead to more generative ideas. and I wonder if in the new keyboard mode you can combine that with trick chants and essentially make generative stuff. I do think this box is potentially being able, now don't quote me on this, to do generative stuff, especially when I heard what the keyboard feature can do. But that will be something that we'll have to look into more. But you can also do generative stuff on the Digitone and the Digitakt, but it's not as powerful as some other devices. But I think this might be a bit more powerful for generative stuff, and that's what I'm interested in. So yeah, and the hardware itself, it has a very similar chassis to the Digitakt. So it has two 1/4-inch audio in jacks and one stereo out headphone jack. Has Midi out, through, and in. When it comes to the price, it is $1,000 US, which I think is competitive and a good price for what you're getting. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Is this Syntakt something you are interested in? Is it not? Are you gonna pre-order it right now? Are you not? Let me know what you guys think, and thank you for watching.